Hello and welcome. Today I'm working inside because the wind is blowing like crazy outside. We've got wind gusts from 20 miles an hour all the way up to 37 miles an hour today. And I decided that I just didn't want to fight with the wind today. So, working inside. And as you see, I'm sitting here looking up stuff on my phone. I decided today would be a good day to start putting the electrical boxes around the house. And in order to put the electrical boxes around the house, I need to look up what specs are for where they go. You know, how high they need to be off the floor, how high the switch boxes need to be off the floor. So yeah, I'm spending a lot of time here on my phone looking stuff up. So let me show you some of what I've done and what I'm doing. I've put in outlet boxes before, so I do know how to do that. But I've never done it in new construction before, so I don't know how far I need to space them apart. And actually for code, I wasn't really sure about how far to space them off the floor. What I looked up is that a standard framing hammer is a good measuring device for your outlet boxes. Stand it on the floor and it shows you how far to do it. And you use that, you're using your hammer anyway, so you use that and it measures all of them so that they're uniform distance from the floor. Another thing that I found out is that you can't have more than 6 feet of wall space to an outlet. So that basically means that you can space your outlets 12 feet apart. I decided that I'm going to put my outlets a little bit closer together because you just never know when it would be really nice to have an outlet someplace. And this is a time to put in as many or as few as I like. I kind of started laying them out. I was doing every 4 feet. I think that might be a little bit overkill, so I'm backing off to about 6 to 7 feet between. And like this one is next to a window. I have another one that I'm going to put on the other side of the window. So that way if a bed goes up against the window, there will be an outlet on each side of that bed. The other window is going to be facing out towards the field. I think I'm going to do the same thing there. The idea being on that this may for a while be like a office workroom or whatever, and I may put my desk right at that window so I can look out at the field and have something nice to look at while I'm working. So if I'm going to be distracted by something, I want it to be a nice view, and having outlets there will allow me to plug more stuff in. So let's go into the kitchen and see what I'm doing in the kitchen. Part of the fun of this project is not only figuring out where your outlet boxes are going to go, but also where your switch boxes are going to go. This is a triple gang box, which means it's going to have 3 switches in it, and the 3 switches are going to control the dining room light, which is directly behind you, kitchen lights to your left, my right, and then the outside light outside the sliding glass door here. I had to look up where the boxes need to go in the kitchen, because, you know, of course you can't put them down next to the floor like you do the other outlets because the lower cabinets are going to cover them. So I looked it up and it says that they need to be 20 inches above the countertop. Just going to put it up inside of the upper cabinet because the upper cabinets are going to be 18 inches above, so it's not going to work. So what I've decided to do is the regular switch boxes are supposed to be 48 inches-ish above the floor. So that's where I'm going to put the kitchen cabinet, or the kitchen outlets also, is 48 inches, because that's going to put me roughly a foot, 12 inches above the finished countertop, which I think is going to work out okay. And the other thing that I discovered, looking things up, because that's what I do, is I spend a lot of time on my phone looking things up. You have to have an outlet every 4 feet in the kitchen. So that way you're never more than 2 feet away from an outlet with any appliance you need to plug in. So I'll go ahead and put up one of my outlet boxes for an outlet, an actual outlet. And it's easy. Okay, tape measure here. Box. It's got little tabs on the side of it that tells you how deep to put it. Okay. Tape measure. that's going to go over here, that's going to be my switch for the garbage disposal. These are the nubs that I was talking about. And what those are for is when you put the box up next to the stud, as you can see, it leaves a space there in front of the stud. What that's for is when you put your wallboard up, your wallboard's going to cover that. And that's about 1/2 inch, so usually it's about 1/2 inch drywall, sheetrock, whatever you're going to call it. It's about 1/2 inch. So that's going to put the front of your box flush with the edge of your sheetrock. And then when you're all done and you put your wall plate on the front of it, it's going to fit nice and flush with the sheetrock and it'll look nice. The next outlet that I'm working on is going to be for the refrigerator. And my question on that is how far above the floor should the outlet be? Should it be down low like the other ones, or should it be up higher to make it more accessible when the refrigerator's in place? And looked it up, tried to look it up to find the information, and not really anything definitive there. I did see that some places that I found says that standard is about 48 inches. So that's what I'm going to go with. I'll go with 48. The reason that I'm going to go with 48 inches is because some refrigerators have a really short cord that will just reach when it's close to being pushed all the way in, and it's not long enough when it's pulled out to plug it in at the bottom. Maybe? That's what I'm going with. So I'm going to do this about 48 inches. And that way, if I need to slide the fridge out a little bit and unplug it, I don't have to fight with trying to slide it all the way out. The other thing that I was thinking of is if it does have a longer cord and it's on the ground when you're trying to shove the fridge back into its opening, you could run over the cord. So I'm going to do it higher. Let's just try to do it. Tape measure out. Put my knobs on the side again. And there we go. Decision made, box installed, and on to the next part, which is finishing up all the outlets in the kitchen, and then down to the bedroom. Well, as you can tell, I am enjoying this portion of the project, figuring out where I want my outlets to be, where I want to plug things in, where I want my switches to be, what switches I want to turn on, what, and turn off. And it's kind of fun, just figuring out, basically you're figuring out how you're going to live in the space and what you're going to do and where you're going to have your light and other electrical consumers within the house. We did add extra outlets to the front bay window, which we have been calling our Christmas tree window. The reason we did that is because of course it's going to have the Christmas tree and it's going to have a lot of demand for lights and other power things. So I added extra outlets up there. That is something that, since I am building it, I can do that. And, that's kind of the fun part of this is, I can make it how I want it to be, how I see my life is going to be in this structure. And I can customize it to what I see is going to be necessary for me. So I hope that you have enjoyed watching this. And if you have, maybe you'll also enjoy this video here. And I'll see you in the next one.